Hi artists, today we are focusing on Picasso, one of the most famous artists of all time, and we're looking at his Head of a Bearded Man. So today it's going to be all about freedom. A lot of the marks that we're going to be using almost look like scribbles, but it really shows his playful, childlike type of way of approaching art, which can be really fun, and I hope that you enjoy this video. So the first thing is, if you wanted to use a ruler, you could use a ruler to create a border. And so just using your ruler, I'm going to make sure that my paper is portrait, so tall instead of long. And I'm just going to line up the top edge of my ruler with my paper. And for materials, we're just going to be using paper, ruler, a black pen or a Sharpie, and some markers. And so I'm going to start out by just drawing a straight line at the top. You can bring your ruler down to the bottom. And when I line up the bottom edge with the bottom of the paper, then I'm able to get a nice clean line. And then you can use this to line up the sides. So we have two vertical lines on the left and right side. So this is just a really easy way to create an emphasis and really bring your viewer into the middle of the piece, and you can play around with different designs and different things that you can add to it to make it look like a frame, like the piece is framed. So the cool thing about Picasso that we've learned is he was trained as a realist, so he was trained with foundational art, really bringing up a lot of the techniques that we've been learning, but later on he moved to a more playful approach. So his piece looks like a man that's been flattened like a pancake. So he gets rid of all of the form and creates a really flat effect, which can be a really cool artistic choice. So the first thing I want you to start out with is just touching your paper, decide how big you're going to do his head. So I'm going to have it taking up most of the paper. And the main piece that I see here is his ear. So I'm going to start on the left side of the paper and do a curved line for his ear. Now, as you're drawing, try not to be super precise. This is all about loose and free line work. The next element that I see is his eye. So his left eye is going to start out with a circle that you're going to color in so it becomes a dot. Then we have another circle around that. And then he has these really sharp angles for the eyelids. So I'm going to do two straight lines that are connected. That becomes an angled line. For the bottom eyelid, it's really curved. And then at the end here, the outer corner of the eye, I'm going to continue my angled line until it comes and touches, and then it's going to curve out. Almost looks like the tail of a fish. So then I'm going to hop over, so I'm going to line up my my Sharpie here and hop over to the right. And then his other eye is just completely black. It's slightly bigger than our previous eye. And then you're going to fill it in. And he has a super crazy eyelid here, so just to the left of that dot, you're going to do a curved line. And it's curving up and then pointing towards the top right corner of your frame. Next, I'm going to go to the beginning of that curve. I'm going to hop down, create another curved line, and this is curving off to the side. And then we're going to add a couple more curved lines just over here in the bottom right for some eyelashes. So even though this is a super free and almost wild style, we still get the feeling of a face from these different facial features. So the eyebrows are super wild. You're gonna go to the point of your angle line. I want you to just start with a straight line. That's gonna be the beginning of the eyebrow. And we're gonna map out the arch of the eyebrow. So it's gonna go up towards the left and then down towards the left side of your paper. And then from here you can just kind of scribble in, following along that line, just scribble in this crazy eyebrow here. Okay, so we're going to do a similar thing on the other side. So this eyebrow is pretty raised, and then up here we're going to go even higher. So I want you to start at the beginning of your eyebrow on the left. You're going to hop over towards the middle, and then you're going to do a really strong straight line going out towards the right. It pretty much ends just before the eyelash here. And then you can do some more scribbles. So see how free I am. I'm not worried too much about like really holding my pen really tightly and controlling it. I'm actually holding it towards the bottom of the pen so that I'm able to just move my arm back and forth and get this really free kind of flowing line. Okay, so that's the top of the face. Now, where we really get the sense of Picasso's like flattened out face, I'm gonna go over to the right of this eyebrow. Start here. You're gonna do a curved line curving out, and then it curves to the frame, curves back. So his nose becomes, we're looking at him frontal with both eyes, but also from the side. So he plays around with our perception, which means the way that we see things. Then from here we're going to go down, curved line, a little short straight line up towards the left, and it's going to curve around back towards the right. This becomes his lips. Sharp angle line here, and then curving up. So this is his forehead, nose, lips, curving a little bit for his chin, and then he has this funny beard. So the beard is just going to be these curved lines that are coming and making their way all the way around and even becoming swirly. So just try, it's kind of fun to just don't even lift your pen and just let yourself kind of dance across the paper. Awesome, so we've kind of mapped out the face. Now I'm going to go over back to the ear and add a little bit more detail. So I'm going to start with a dot. So that's a circle colored in. Do these angle lines, and then it's curving around. And then for the earlobe, I'm going to start at the end of this line, curve up towards the left, around, and hook it towards the right. Great, so the next step I'm going to do is add some of his hairline. So your hairline is where your skin meets your hair. It's the line that meets. So I'm going to start just above the eyebrow, and I'm going to do some curved lines here. Curving down until it meets the ear. I'm also going to add some curves just above the eyebrow. So just be free with it. Don't worry too much about, making it perfect. It's all about having fun. And then the top of his hair really just curves around until you get to the side. So they're all going to look a little bit different. Now, once you get to the end of his hair, I want you to just do a curved line curving down. And that's the back of his neck. So this is pretty much the general kind of outline of his head. And now we're going to go in and add some of those really defined black details on the face. So the first thing I want to go back to is just on the inside of the contour, which means the outer edge of the face. The contour line is a line that goes around the entire object. So for us, our object is our portrait. There's a line that starts just above the eyebrow. It actually goes through his eye, curves down. It's almost like a road or like on a map. And it follows really closely to the outline of the face until it goes in and becomes his mouth. So again, you're starting just above the eyebrow, cutting through the eye, curving down along the edge of the nose, inward, and then it breaks into the face and curves up and around. We see that also for the lower lip. So if you go to this ridge, it looks like a little mountain, and you hop down, then we're going to do another curve line curving around, and it's actually going to fit into this little area for the lip, and then it's going to curve down, and we even have another curve for the chin. So he's adding these details to add a little bit more line work to the face and add more style there. Okay, so the next thing I notice is he's turned the teeth into dots. So there's 3 dots, 1, 2, kind of smaller one, and a third one, which become his teeth. And then right over here in this little mountain shape, you can map out a little area which you can fill in. So this is, I see a mountain, and then you can fill this entire area in using the flat side of your Sharpie. To add this really bold black. Next, just to the left of that dot, we're going to create another little curve line shape, and then it's coming down, and it looks like a little pond or a lake. So actually, you know what this looks like really to me is a music note that's been flattened out. So once you've created this shape, then you can go in and color it in. And then the last little area near the mouth looks like an upside down heart. So if I go just below this angled line, this point, I'm going to draw 2 curves and see it looks like kind of upside down heart. We can fill that in. So as you guys are drawing, I just want you to be paying attention to, you know, the different shapes, using lines to create shapes, and then those shapes can be filled in with different types of marks. So for the black, they're really bold and they're really defined. So we're almost done with the black. We're gonna hop back up to this eye on the left and add some more detail. So he's kind of filled in this entire area here. So you can draw that blob, color it in. And it's really loose, so you actually don't even have to worry about staying in the lines. It actually is going to look more similar to the original if you kind of scribble it on. Then within the eye, he's created a more bold edge on the left and the right side. And then this little line right here creates a bit of a highlight. And then the eyelashes look pretty wild. They're just like this scribbled on. Almost imagine going back to like when you were really little and you could barely hold your pen or your pencil, you know. as a kid. That's kind of what you want to channel when you're doing this work. Okay, just a few more areas of darkness. So right in between his eyes, he's added this blob. So again, don't worry about matching it. I want you guys to just feel, kind of imagine you're him and you're just kind of scribbling this person on a paper. He has some shadow on the outside of the head. So you're going to go here and you're going to do a curve line curving around, and then you're going to focus on outlining that curve so you get some darkness. So that really pushes the portrait, the person forward, because we have this outline here. Next, you can add some dark detail onto the eyelashes. Do a bit of a shadow along the back of the nose here. I just noticed he has these scribbled on nostrils, so scribble 1 and 2. And then there's this interesting, looks like arrows. So these are really sharp diagonal lines connecting, creating this arrow kind of symbol down his entire nose. They get smaller as they get closer to the bottom. See, and then the last bit, he scribbled like these little mountain shapes, and that's gonna be it for the black. So once you're done with all of these different, you know, curves and angles, all the areas that we've shaded, go ahead and just put your cap on your Sharpie. You don't want it to dry out, and then we can add some color. So the coloring portion is going to be even more free, so I want you guys to really just play around with like quick energetic lines, just moving your body. Sometimes I'll even stand when I'm working, because when you're sitting too long you can feel a little tired, so if you stand up you can even listen to some music. But I'm just gonna go based off the original. So the first color that I'm seeing is yellow, and that's going to be these like really strong yellow lines just above the left eyebrow. So you can do these like just scribbling back and forth. Usually, you know, you grow out of scribbling, but for today I want you guys to just have fun with it and scribble all over the place. So feel free to, you know, decorate it however you want, but if you do want to go off of the original, as I'm seeing here, then you can follow along with me. This is like if your little brother or your little sister got a marker and started coloring all over your drawing. Next color is orange. He has this huge area scribbled on the left. Then I see some green. This is more of a lime green, but we can just use this now. This one pretty much follows along the outside of that mouth. The upper lip comes into the nose. And then we have another kind of scribble down here in the bottom. And he also added this patterning behind the head, so these lines that are going off the side of the paper in green. But just notice how quickly I'm working. I'm not worried about lining them up nicely. I'm really just adding a ton of different marks on here. Cool. Next is blue. He has a lot of blue in this piece, so this is kind of outlining his cheekbone. So if you guys touch your face, you know, your cheeks are the squishy part, and then if you go above that, you'll have a hard bone. So this is kind of what he's kind of mapping out that. And then he has they almost look like little stars or something in his head, in his hair. Yeah, just scribble it. It's pretty fun, actually. It's been a long time since I worked this way. Okay. You know, it might even be fun for you guys to use your non-dominant hand. So I'm left-handed. So we've built up control because we practice with our dominant hand. So some of you may be right-handed, and every single day you write with your right hand or you draw with your right hand, or vice versa. But if you switch, you won't have as much control. You guys should try that out. It's pretty fun. And then it's a totally different experience when you're trying to draw with your non-dominant hand or do anything. Some of you may have like broken a bone before, and you have to learn how to write or how to throw a ball, or you know, use your non-dominant hand. So that's actually really good for your brain if you try to do things with your non-dominant hand, because your brain has to think a lot harder to try to figure out how to make it happen. He looks crazy. I like it. Okay, next, purple. So purple, yeah, it looks like the letter J, which is going through, in between the eyebrows, through the nose, and down. And then it almost looks like this is like purple booger. And lastly, some purple lines. Awesome. So this is just one of many of Picasso's styles. You know, you can add as many different scribbles or designs. I really want you guys to just play around with this one today. It's really free and fun, and so it's really cool to see, you know, as we viewed in the slideshow, all of his different styles, all the different ways that he's used his art to just play and experiment with different types of ways of working. So this is really fun and free. Other of his work is really serious and can be a little bit sad. So as artists, we have the ability to play around with different materials to create different types of styles within our work that show us different moods and really can project different feelings. So I hope you guys really enjoyed today's lesson, and I'm looking forward to how you played around with your markers and your different mark making, and really played around with using your dominant versus your non-dominant hand.